And hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to our next power scanning session. It is May 9th, is that correct? Yeah, May 9th, 2026. And once again today, we will be on the lookup today for the most interesting swing trading setups for the week and the weeks ahead. And before we get into all of this, let me ask you guys, where are you calling in from? I myself am calling in from beautiful Montreal. It's a beautiful spring day today. Finally, it got a bit warmer, blue skies. I'm looking outside the window here, and perhaps you can see it. We also do have a new setup. So I should be broadcasting to you in a whole different light, so to say. I'm not sure if it works properly. It's the second time we're actually doing this with this new setup. So maybe give me some feedback how this looks like, if the sound is clear or perhaps the video is clear as well. So maybe something you can share with me in this presentation. All right. So where are you guys calling in from? Let's have a look. We have Andre from Berlin. Hey, Andre, wie geht's in Berlin? Linda from Orangeville, Ontario, if I remember correctly. Hey, Linda, how's it going? Nice to have you on board. Daryl is there. Good morning, Daryl. Once again, from San Francisco. Daryl, you've been thinking to all our latest webinars, which is awesome. So thanks so much for getting up early. I hope you're enjoying your breakfast while having this presentation. We have Devindra from Princeton, New Jersey. Hey there, how's it going? Frank from Essen in the Ruhrpott, as we say in Germany. Well, hey Frank, how are you? I hope you are. Are you a Rot-Weiß Essen fan? I just looked at the soccer results this morning, and my team, of course, is Hansa Rostock. So we need Essen and Duisburg to lose next week. Is that possible? Anyways, Jens from Frankfurt. Hey Jens, how are you? Good to have you on board. And Linda is saying, handsome as ever. Oh boy. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Linda. Don't make me blush. Niels is there from Basel in Switzerland. Hey, Niels, how are you? Good to have you. Oliver from Singapore. Wow. Oliver, what time is it over there? I think last time I asked this question, it was 2 a.m. in the morning, but maybe that was somebody from Australia. I forget. Oliver, maybe let us know what time it is over there in Singapore. And we also have Mike from Portland, Oregon. Wow. Also, good morning there. Probably 9 a.m. there in Portland, if I'm not mistaken. Nice to have you. And we have John from Fort Collins, Colorado. Hey, John, nice to have you. And Kevin is there. Hey, Kevin from North Carolina. And Frank is saying he's not really a soccer fan. All right. Okay, good. Andre, he says, good luck with my team. Okay, thanks, Andre. I hope. But the chances are very, very little. So I know we have to win the lottery basically next week if we will have any chance to make it to spot 3 in the standings, which would be a relegation spot potentially to Division 2. Oops, sorry, one second. Andrea is also there from Hamburg. Hi, Andrea. How are you? She says she's excited about the new setups, of the swing trades, or perhaps our new setup of our streaming studio here. Anyways, who else do we have? Oliver, it's midnight in Singapore. Wow, amazing. Thanks, Oliver, for staying up so late. Hopefully, we're going to make it worth your while. And Andre is saying he's an Union Berlin fan. Oh, very nice. Isn't Union Berlin the team with the first female coach in Germany in the Bundesliga? I'm not sure. I think it is, huh? If I'm not mistaken. Anyways, my focus is on Division 3, so Div 1 is it's a bit further away from me. He says, yes, it is. Okay, cool. Anyways, let's get started, guys, with today's setup. Enough talking about soccer. Maybe another day. We're going to continue now with the swing trades for the week and the weeks ahead. All right, so what is a swing trade? Well, we say a swing trade typically lasts between 1 and 20 weeks. The exact duration is not so important. What's important is that a swing trade, unlike a buy and hold investment, for example, a swing trade needs to be actively managed. This requires that you should check once a day at least how your trade is doing. Do you need to close the trade, perhaps adjust the trade, perhaps book some profits? Swing trades do need to be managed. Also, what we're going to be doing today is termed the 13 minutes strategy. The exact number of minutes, once again, is not so important, but what's important is that you can find swing trades every single day in just a matter of minutes. And this is an exercise you can not only do on the weekend, we're doing it today on the weekend, but you can do it after every single trading day. You can do it Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and so forth. Or perhaps in the beginning of the trading day before the market opens. That's a possibility too. So, and this is possible with our beautiful Liquidity View dashboard, which is designed for efficiency so that you can find what you're looking for in just a matter of minutes. All right, so who are we in the first place? We are tradingindicators.com. My name is Daniel. I'm the guy here on the left-hand side. This picture was taken a couple of years ago, if you're wondering. And together with Homer here in the middle, we have created Trading Indicators about 10 years ago now. Crazy how fast time has went by. And about halfway through our journey, Niklas, who is also in the chat today, has joined our crew, and he's become our lead developer ever since. And as our name suggests, we specialize on creating innovative trading indicators. This is really our bread and butter. We've done this for clients all over the world. We've built thousands of trading indicators for all major platforms, for TradingView, TradeStation, MetaTrader, MetaStock, Thinkorswim, Modifwave, NinjaTrader, and so forth. So we've seen it all. And of course, we kept the best ones for ourselves, obviously. And what we're going to be doing today is to use our flagship indicators to look for these interesting swing trading setups. And we're going to do this with our Liquidity View dashboard, which is a web-based dashboard, which has our indicators built in, and of course has a way to filter and scan for interesting setups. This is where the power of scanning and having powerful indicators come together. Last thing, if you have any questions, guys, or symbol requests, don't be shy. Put your questions into the Q&A box, and we're going to get to those as I proceed throughout this presentation. I also do need to remind you that trading does contain risk and therefore is not suited for every investor. If you trade, make sure to only use risk capital, which is money that you actually can afford to lose. When it comes to backtest performance or hypothetical performance or really anything based on historical data, keep in mind that this is not necessarily indicative of future performance, and any trade ideas and strategies and setups discussed in this webinar should not be construed as trade advice. These are for educational purposes only. All right, with this out of the way, let me go through a couple of housekeeping items. First off, what we will be doing today is to interactively scan for setups using our Liquidity View dashboard. It would be best if you followed along. And you can do this even if you don't have a current subscription to our dashboard yet by signing up for a free trial right now. The link is down here on my screen. It's tradingindicators.com/view. There's a sign up form there. You enter your information. You will have to put your payment information there, but you will not be charged. You can cancel at any time within that 1 week. There's a link we're going to send to you where you can manage your subscription. So if you want to follow along, sign up for a free trial using this link. And Niklas, please put this link into the chat box. Let me just quickly see if it's there. I believe it is. Perfect. Thanks, Niklas. All right, moving on. We also have a boot camp. It's very comprehensive. It took 3 hours to go through all the different features of the dashboard. We don't expect you to learn all these features, but ideally, you take one view of this bootcamp just to see what is out there, what is possible, and then you simply pick and choose which of the features are relevant for your trading. So you can watch this bootcamp at tradingindicators.com/bootcamp. I'm afraid I may have to re-record it probably in a month or 2 months from now. The main reason for this is we have added so many new features once again to the dashboard since we recorded this one here a couple of months ago. So every once in a while, I'm re-recording it to just keep it up to date. All right, and one new feature we're actually going to be using today, which are our hotkeys to navigate through the dashboard with your keyboard. No more mouse interaction is required in theory. Moving on, the next thing I want to say is that we also have a Discord channel, completely free to join at tradingindicators.com/Discord. In there, we're posting interesting setups, we're answering questions, we are trying to interact with our trading community. And the main reason why we're having this Discord channel is to build set trading community for our members. All right, and lastly, we have an ebook called The Power of Three. Here's the download link for this. It's also in the chat. And we welcome any feedback that you may have to further improve our dashboard. In fact, one of the feedback that we got from Kevin is in the room today. Thanks again, Kevin, for this, is the ability to use hotkeys or keys on your keyboard to navigate through certain items on your dashboard. Well, Kevin, we've listened, you know this already, and we've implemented this feature into the dashboard. How this works, I'm going to show you throughout this presentation here and there, whenever it fits. All right, so with this, guys, let's get started. Let's get started with our market review. For this, I'm going to switch over to the dashboard. If I can find it. There we go. Here we go. Here's the dashboard. And we're going to start with the SPY. Well, my prediction that we're going to see a pullback at some point, you saw my little predictive line here, has not panned out yet. And I say yet because we've been now in a stretch where everything is extended and super green for at least a month, maybe a bit more. This is as long as it normally takes until we see a form of a pullback. You can see it here. If you look at these previous big green stretches, they rarely last longer than a month. You can see, and eventually then there will be a pullback. I believe that we might be seeing one of these pullbacks maybe next week, maybe in 2 weeks from now. And I personally, I am careful in entering any long positions right now in the SPY. It seems very extended. You can see how far we are away from our broken resistance level here and how far we are away from our average line, see from our MA rush indicator. So quite far away. I'll be careful to chase this trend right now at these price levels in the ozone layer, so to say. Prices are very extended. I believe a pullback will be coming. It's just a question of when, not if. I think perhaps next week or in 2 weeks, it might be time for such a pullback. But this then would be an opportunity for us to potentially look for longs. So I patiently will be waiting for this. All right. So that was the SPY. It's a very similar picture in the Qs in the NASDAQ 100 ETF, maybe a bit more extreme even. Look at this rise. I mean, I had a webinar just before this one here with our German crew in German, and I pointed out, look at this straight line, how prices came up here from the low point. You rarely see something like this where every single day basically is just another high, another high, another high, with basically no pullbacks whatsoever. So let me draw this just on this chart here, just for fun, so you can see what I mean. I'm going to use my tool here, and look at this. It's basically a straight line with very little variations up and down. Wow. I mean, it's pretty unprecedented. What a move it was. And I think this happened because two things came together. First off, you may remember, if we looked at the sectors early on this year, maybe in February or March, we noticed that the technology sector, NASDAQ is mainly technology, well, it is technology, it was lagging behind. And we also pointed out that, hey, this sector needs to catch up. And this happens all the time. There's sector rotation involved. And guess what? This sector has caught up. And here, two things were coming together. The sector caught up from a weaker position. Sector was gaining as part of sector rotation, and the overall market was in a bullish recovery trend. So two things coming together, leading to such a straight line. Wow, it's crazy. And let me just quickly see where our sector now holds up for the year-to-date performance. I'm going to go here to, give me 1 second, to our index column. I'm going to filter by the S&P 500 sectors, just for the fun of it. And let's have a look. What is the strongest sector so far year-to-date? Do we have it enabled? No, 1 second. Let me just go here. Enable this column year to date. And we can see once we sort by this column, the strongest sector, it's still energy. All right. No big surprise there. Energy has been soaring. Energy prices are so expensive now. All these companies, they probably made a ton of money. That's not surprising. 24% since the beginning of the year. But then already now in position two, guess what? Technology. It caught up completely. It was basically a negative performance in the beginning of the year, completely caught up, now 20% ahead for the year. And these two things coming together, leading to the fact that we had such a straight line rise in the Qs. Wow, it's fairly unprecedented that something goes up in such a clear pattern. Would I enter up here? I will not do it. I see the pattern. It's a straight line, but I also think this is not going to last. It can't last much longer. There will be some sort of correction coming. All right. So let me move on. What about the IWM, the Russell? There we go. And I said it maybe 2 weeks ago. I forgot when it was, that the Russell, if I had to choose a symbol, I believe that's what I said. If I had to pick one, Russell, SPY, or QQQ, I probably would pick the Russell, because of these three indices, the Russell hasn't been as bullish. Of course, it went up. Of course, it hit all-time highs, but it was hovering around this former resistance level here. So we broke above it. We came back. We almost closed this gap here, this up gap, which needed to be closed for prices to push further up. And now we are further gaining, but not to the extent as the other indices. So once again, if I had to pick one, I probably would pick the Russell for a potential long entry right now, just on account of it has a bit more to still to gain. It's not as extended as the other twos. All right. So And Nicholas, I do see some questions coming in here. Let me just see if there's anything pertinent. Nicholas, is there anything pertinent on these
Let me take
questions
a
for
read.
these
No,
symbols?
continue, and I'll interrupt after I'm finished reading.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Perfect. All right. All right. Let me just go back to my chart. I'm gonna go to oil now. USO. All right. So the United States Oil Fund, and oil is interesting too, for a couple of reasons. First of all, look at what we drew last week. You see these blue lines here? Well, this is what some people may refer to as a trend channel. So it's quite parallel. You can see the prices are making higher highs and higher lows.
Daniel.
That's the yes,
Oh,
Nicholas.
sorry. So you mentioned if you believe a pullback or correction is coming for the SPY, would it also make you hesitant investing in individual stocks around this time?
No, I don't think so. I think the SPR is one thing. I probably would not invest in a Scandesk or Sandisk right now, which is like super extended stocks like this. But individual stocks, while the overall index is so extended, individual stocks they will have pullbacks. And they do have pullbacks right now, and they are interesting for the next week for sure. No, I think the individual stocks will still have opportunity there, but the overall index itself, I think I'll be a bit hesitant to, for example, buy directly into the SPY right now or the QQQ.
Perfect. And then Devendra wants to know, what do you mean by the 13-minute strategy? If you could just
Oh, don't get hung up on the actual 30 minutes. What we mean by this is something, this kind of scanning process, which we're gonna use 1 hour for today, can be done in just a few minutes. The reason why it takes an hour is because I talk a lot and I digress sometimes and I answer questions. That's why. But if you do it on your own, focused, it will take like 10 minutes. And you know what I do every day, pretty much after the day is over, around 6 or 7 p.m. Eastern time. This is normally when the dashboard has fully refreshed and has all the new data in from uh, the current trading day. I just open it up and I just run some scans which I normally just run right now also in this webinar session, just to see if there's anything of interest. And if there is, I take a mental note, and the next day when the market opens, I see where it opens. And if I still like the setup, I typically execute it. So one example of this, Devendra, was one of our picks. I digress again. I'm going to go back to my market overview in a second. One of the picks from last week was, just to exemplify this a little bit, was
you know
UGL.
what, just Daniel, I just noticed this, but you know how you had to scroll down to the latest watch list? We should
Yeah,
sort it in the opposite direction.
that's a good point. That's probably a good idea. The reason why it's like this is because it's alphabetically sorted. And so from, yeah, I guess alphabetically sorted. What I can do, I can either rename all these setups so they are somehow the most recent ones show up first. Maybe we should have a sorting button of some sort. Anyways, okay, that's a good idea, Nicholas. I'll think about
I'll
it,
write
how
it
we
down.
can do it. But right now, these are alphabetically sorted. Maybe we could have a preference. Now that I see, this is exactly why these webinars take so
We
long.
can
We
digress
can,
later if you want.
yeah, we can have a setting here for the sorting order of these watch lists, and maybe one criteria could be based on when the watch list was created. Maybe by that creation date. Perhaps that would make it the more recent ones are shown first. Okay, that's a good point. I'll take it away. But coming back to how we use these 30-minute strategy. So you may remember this symbol here, UGL. It's a double leveraged gold ETF. And we picked it out last week because it had a nice setup right here at support. You can see prices came down to support in a long uptrend with a level 4 pullback on trend radar. So I really liked it. And what I did on Monday, this is exactly what you can do too. I basically went to all these symbols which we picked on Saturday just to see which one of those I still liked the best on Monday, depending on where the market opens. And I like the best UGL. And what I did actually Monday morning, I bought some calls, outright calls for that particular symbol in the expectation, hey, hopefully this setup is going to work out. I like the call ID here, the options play, because it is still quite volatile. And maybe there's going to be a bigger drop happening, especially in these double leverage ETFs. You never know. So I wanted to minimize my risk. I also like the fact that call options, at least on Monday when I bought them, they were relatively affordable. I think they were about 4.5% heat index, meaning you pay about 4 to 5% options premiums for options with 30 days to expiration at the money. That's reasonable, especially for a double leveraged ETF. So I thought, hey, All right, I'll use that options play. 2 months to expirations I picked because I want to this price move to give it some time to move out, to play out. And I took a strike price a bit out of the money, I think around 61, 62. Of course, now we had this beautiful jump here and there. I still have these options, but they are nicely up now by 70%. So that's the play I did. And this was based on now I'm gonna go full circle again, based on what we discovered on Saturday. But of course, this opportunity exists every single day, not just based on the scanning session. You can do this after every single trading day in just a couple of minutes. Find the setups that you like, wait until the market opens, and if it's still looking good, execute on it. So that was this big detour explaining why we call it the 13-minute strategy. All right. So with this, let me go back now to the market overview. Okay. All right. So we talked about USO. This is where we left off. Oil is in a nice parallel trend channel. I liked it. And I like the fact also that we are now close to the lower end of this trend channel. And if you want to be adventurous, of course, oil is super volatile. Maybe thinking about a long position around these levels here, maybe not the worst idea. Anticipating, hey, this upwards trend with higher highs and higher lows along the way, this may continue a bit longer. Just an idea. All right. So that's at least my take here on oil. We already talked about gold, but just a quick reminder how the GLD, the normal leveraged or the unleveraged gold ETF looks like. Also here we had this nice, beautiful balance of price coming close to support here. And I believe there's more room to go to the upside. We have this gap to fill here, this down gap, and also this down gap to fill. If both gaps fill, we will see a price move in the next month towards the 480 or 490 level. All right, so let's look at silver. Silver was also one of our discussion points last week. And we said last week, okay, silver is approaching the lower end of this parallel consolidation phase. You can see it here, price is basically oscillating between the lower end of this parallel horizontal phase here and the upper end here. And we came down to the lower end last week. We discussed that, hey, maybe take a shot there. Perhaps prices may bounce off this level towards higher price levels, maybe reapproaching the upper end of it. And this worked out quite nicely so far, now with prices trading in the middle of this channel. All right, one more we had Bitcoin. Bitcoin is also interesting. So I'm feeling better and better about Bitcoin. Why? You see it here. Let me hide real quick our MA rush indicator just to show you what I mean by this. Oops, there we go. I'll hide it right there. There we go. Okay, so we had the following situation. You can see it here, price broke back here in February, this support level. So around 74,000, this level was broken. Okay, we had a nice follow through afterwards, but then prices reapproach this level. This is our zone break retrace setup. Reapproach it once, twice, 3 times, and the 4th time, this little rectangle here, we finally broke above the level again. And now I think the same kind of pattern may unfold one more time here for Bitcoin. We are now above this level. It's broken from below to above. It's now acting as support. Prices came down to it. We bounced off it. Came up again. Prices bounced off again here. Came up. Prices now once again reapproaching this level. And I think we may see one more bounce, a bit lower perhaps. And if that happens, maybe an opportunity to think about longs in Bitcoin here, anticipating, hey, we might be bouncing off one more time from this level towards higher price levels. It's definitely encouraging to see that we are in Bitcoin since March this year, making higher lows and higher highs. 2 definitions of an uptrend. I believe bulls are slowly getting back in control, which to me at least is a good sign because I hold a long strategic Bitcoin position. I even bought some more back when prices were down to 70,000 around this level here. I invested a bit more into Bitcoin, so I personally like what I'm seeing right here with this bullish recovery, so to say, in Bitcoin. All right, now a quick look of what we picked last week. As you know, we always pick about 7 to 10 symbols every week for the week ahead. This is what we picked last week. So I'm going to go all the way down. Yes, Niklas sorting order should be fixed at some point, and we're going to open up last week's watch list. I'm just going to go through it real quick alphabetically. So BLX. What's our first pick here? The Banco Latinoamericano. Yeah, nice one here. We came down. This is our zone break retrace setup. You can see it here. Prices broke above resistance, came back down to the broken resistance level. And the idea was, hey, we're going to see a bounce off this level towards higher price levels. It's been working out nicely so far. BP. Oops. The credit core LTD, same thing here. Beautiful set. Look at this one. Prices came down to support with even liquidity capture event at the last candle. Nice bounce to the upside. UGL, we just discussed it, is double leverage gold ETF. Yeah, I bought some calls here that we saw the jump to the higher price levels. I'm still holding them. They have a longer expiration. I think expiration is mid-June, something like this. So there's still a lot of time left on the clock, maybe even July. I forget. I'll let you know on Tuesday in our Lunch and Learn session. So there's still plenty of time on the clock. I think we may see another leg further up, and maybe there'll be more gains to be made in my long calls here for UGL. Kraken Robotics, yeah. Remember we said this was the most risky one because it's kind of a low price stock. It was an interesting uh, point here in time where this uptrend came down to the support level, and the idea was, hey, perhaps this level will hold. It didn't hold. We came a little bit below, but I think it's still okay. If you're in this trade, I personally would still hold on to it for just a bit longer. Not much, but a bit longer, because right now we are basically in the vicinity of this other support level. See this little faint red line, this one here, around this price level here. It went out of scope technically on April 21st, but don't overthink this. Even though it stopped painting, it may still be relevant. And if it was relevant, and if we extend this line a little bit more, let me just go from here all the way to here. We can see where's price right now. It's right at this level. And I think that might be, of course, no guarantees. Who knows what's going to happen. That might be a stopping point for this pullback. And we may see a bit of a correction to the upside from here. So I would still stay in it. If we lose this level, however, if we go below, like say $5 here or below 4.80, I probably would close out this trade. But for now, I would stay within it. MBK.WA, our first Polish stock. Yeah, beautiful. Zone break retrace set up, nice jump up. Bit of a down day on Friday, but nonetheless, this one is nicely in the profit. CIB. All right. Yeah, this one, it's in the entry zone right now. I think we were Friday. Where was Friday? It was here. Prices came down a bit further. Nice. Now, right in this entry area, I like it for a potential long entry. So if you're not in this trade yet, I think now it's time to potentially pull the trigger. You have the chance on Monday on this bar here to pull the trigger, or Tuesday. If you're not in there yet, maybe another opportunity is unfolding next week. All right, ANZ.AX, an Australian stock. Let me just see. Beautiful setup here. Bounced it up, worked out nicely. PH, this was, I believe, our trade of the week, if I'm not mistaken, in our newsletter. I might be wrong. Parker Hannifin Corporation. Nicely up to. We had earnings coming up. The earnings didn't do much with it. We're still hanging around this support level, and I think there is more room to go to the upside. At the minimum, fill this down gap here. For this, prices would need to come up to a 946. MOBN.SW. This was the stock, I have to tell you, which I was most disappointed in last week. I loved the setup. It didn't pan out. Sometimes, if things look too good, maybe it's just a bit of a warning sign. I really liked it. It was a Swedish stock. I didn't act on it because I didn't find a way to execute on that trade. In hindsight, of course, I'm happy for this because prices lost this level here. It's still good, but now not as good anymore. So it's still in a stable uptrend, but now we have a level 5 pullback, so it's no more a sweet spot pullback here. And I think for this stock, I'm not sure if anybody's in this trade, the next stop might be here at 346 at this former support level, or perhaps down here to 333 to this former resistance level. And lastly, BSAC. Yeah, right in the entry zone here, the Banco Santander Chile. Yeah, an interesting long trade right now, right at the support level. So a couple of the trades we picked last week are still right there where we want them to be for potential entry. Otherwise, have already gone up. Not so interesting anymore. And others, like this Swedish stock here, I don't know. I probably would get out of it potentially if you are in this trade. Maybe if you are, guys, perhaps put a little note into the chat if you are, but maybe you didn't execute on this one because it's a bit of an exotic holding to have to begin with. All right, but this concludes our market overview. Now let me quickly see if there are any questions right now.
Yeah, so we had some comments here from Oliver. So Oliver said, and it's a I'm not sure if it's actually possible on the dashboard, but he basically said that, like when you place the indicator like Liquidity IQ on TradingView, you have that large title that says all the stuff about the indicator, like all the settings you selected, the little
Hmm.
tag. So he says that's cluttered when there's all the indicators. So would it be possible to basically shorten that? So on TradingView, you just click that little arrow, right? And it hides them all. So that's the
Yeah,
solution on
it's
TradingView, but
it's
on
it's
the
this it's
dashboard,
it's the same here. You can do they so there's no arrow here to shorten this title. I
but to
think this
hide them, is there one? Like on TradingView?
that yeah, there's this one here to hide them all together. So this can be done. So no, now you only have the little drop down here basically. But to shorten each title individually or each indicator name with the other settings, I think this is not
I'll
possible.
check TradingView. Maybe it's possible to put in a setting there.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
so I'll check that out. And the other thing Oliver wrote was about the second, similarly, like the on-screen boxes with information. So like that's mentor mode. So maybe you can show
Yeah.
Oliver's new mentor mode, how to turn that off.
Yeah. So for these boxes here, and I agree with you, Oliver, these can become cluttered. Let me do something. I'm going to go to Apple. Actually, it's a good point. I wanted to talk about Apple anyways today. Where is Apple? There we go. Yeah. Okay. So, and I'm going to also do one thing. I'm going to click this reset button here. I normally don't click it because it takes away the changes I made to the defaults, but I'm going to just reset this chart to how it looks when you first install the dashboard. So reset everything. And yes, Oliver, I totally agree with you. You have all these labels here. And I also agree with you, that's too much for me. I don't want to see all these labels. Luckily, this can be adjusted so fairly easily. What you need to do is you go to the settings of the indicator of Liquidity IQ right there. And then you have several on-off switches here in the settings. You can see them here. So for example, I don't want to see the labels for support and resistance. I know what they are. I know how these zones look like. I don't need an extra label for this. So I typically turn this one off. Gone. I also don't want to have zone breaks be labeled as well. So I turn this one off too. And I normally also switch off liquidity captures because I can recognize them easily myself just by the visuals on the chart. I don't need a label for it. And there's one more thing I do, because sometimes these zone break arrows, they irritate me too. Like these ones here, when we actually broke above a level, I can just simply visually see it. I personally typically also turn off zone breaks, like there. And that's basically my setup, the way I run the chart. So this is how you can make it a bit cleaner. All right.
Perfect. And this is another point from Oliver. I'm just going to get through all these real quick. Oliver, I'm writing that down. That's a good idea. So basically, he said, for setups, we have in the indicator, you could put like the targets and stops. Well, it would be cool to also see percentage gained or percentage lost at those stops and targets. Um,
I believe
Masses,
isn't that there already? Let me just quickly, just for
I
the
don't,
fun of it,
is it? I thought it
just
was just in the actual filters from is it
maybe,
there?
maybe.
I'm not
I'm
sure.
gonna quickly enable 1 second. Let's just get to the bottom of this real quick. So we see here the stop and the no, it's there. You
It's
see it?
there. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's already in the,
yeah.
I
That's
didn't
the
even know.
yeah.
Um, and Massa says, okay, so gold price didn't fully hit support, then it went back up. Um, so this is a good example. And Massa, actually, I remember last week you asked something similar. So if you see something coming down, let's say bullish MA rush, it's coming down to support, you're anticipating a bounce, it doesn't hit the support, and then it starts rising again. Is there any indicator you would use to help you just decide, okay, I'm getting in, even though we didn't touch support?
And
No, that was
it's
your same answer.
and to me, I mean, I see gold. So here, multiple things came together. So I believe gold in the long term, like thinking about a year or so, they were gonna rise up again. And I think, in my view, there's no way gold is not gonna go higher for all the inflation data and all what's going on in the world. Eventually, it's gonna rise and probably make all-time highs. So to me, this makes my decision a bit easier to jump in a bit earlier because I have this kind of bias. Maybe I'm wrong with this kind of a bias about gold in my head, which makes me become a bit more aggressive with a position and also my entry. So here with UGL, I just went aggressive. I saw prices come down. I saw option premiums are fairly low for an options trade. So just I jumped on it a bit earlier. But that's a personal decision, and not just personal, but also I believe it depends on the symbol you're looking at. For some symbols you just feel better about it, so you're a bit more aggressive. Other ones perhaps you're a bit more conservative. You really wait for the perfect entry price.
Perfect. And All right, so Derek, I'm not sure what was he was referencing here. He wrote, "I have all the April, but where is May?" Maybe it's about
Okay.
the data or something. So the rest are symbol requests, and then we have some questions here about the indicators again. So when you click on the arrows, there are indicators missing. How do you see them in order to adjust the settings of the indicator? So maybe you could just quickly show there how you hide and reveal, and then
Yeah.
open the settings of the indicators.
Yeah, exactly. So every indicator here has this little settings icon which you can click on, and we're going to bring you to the settings dialog. That's cool. Um, if it's for the order of the actual indicators, see how they are listed. If you reset your chart, it's always in this order. First, MA Rush, then Liquidity IQ. It's the second one in the middle, and then it's our corporate actions indicator, which basically shows whether earnings and stuff is coming up, or dividends, DivX dates are coming up. If you don't like this order, what you could do is you could take them off individually, delete them like this, and then reapply them in the order you like. So maybe they're all grouped under trading indicators. You can see them here. So for example, you could put on, okay, first liquidity IQ, then MA Rush, and then corporate actions. So that way you can change the order in which they are listed.
Perfect. And the last one, Kevin, I think Kevin might be referring to, unless Daniel, the Liquidity IQ setup box, that's not shown by default on the dashboard, right? Like, the one that shows in the little
Yeah, we don't.
corners.
That's
So I
that
think
we don't have this
Kevin's,
for the dashboard.
okay,
Yeah,
so he's
that's
referring to
not.
trading view and he wants to know how would you move the position of it? It's in the settings of the indicator.
Yeah, on the actual trading view, it's the setup box here. So if you have the trading view version of our liquidity IQ indicator, there is a positioning options in here. If you go down, it's called setup box, first of all. And then we have a position parameter here, which you can change. So we'll go from top right to bottom right to bottom left. Once you do this, it will change position like this.
Thanks, Daniel. We're good to go. Rest or symbol requests.
Okay, perfect. All right, so back to the thank you guys so much for putting all these questions in. I like a good interactivity. Doing these webinars is definitely better than just me monologuing. Okay, so quickly back to the slides to see what we actually will be scanning for today. And we pretty much scan for the same thing every single week. Um, it's because I personally like these setups. They're kind of, steady and reliable. That fits my trading style. Having this said, if you watch the bootcamp, and the bootcamp link is in the chat, there's so many other things you can scan for. You can scan for, hey, stocks with really high options prices right now, maybe for cash secured put situation. You can scan for earning states. Look at more volatility, perhaps. You can scan for dividend payouts and so forth. So lots of different strategies are possible. But the one we'll be looking for today is a trend trading strategy. So typically we're looking for long entries and trend entries, so to say, but we don't want to get into a trend blindly. But let me back up a little bit. The first thing really that we want to see in a stock is a really stable and ideally long-term uptrend. The more stable it is, the better I like it. The longer it has been going on, the better I like it as well. So a long-term uptrend is our first criteria. But we don't want to get into a trend trade blindly. We want to time our entry nicely. And what we will be waiting for is for what we call a pullback. Because we don't want to get into it at the top. That's why I'm so hesitant right now to jump into the SPY, because we're literally at the top right now. I want for prices to come down a little bit, to pull back. And in an ideal world, it should be what we call a healthy pullback, which is not too big and not too small. We can see this in our trend radar indicator below the chart, where we either have 4 levels down, like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a bit hard to see, but it's there, or 3 levels down, like here, 1, 2, 3. These in our book are healthy pullbacks, which are right in the sweet spot. Not too small, so that they're not meaningful enough, and not too big that we may risk an entire trend reversal. So right in the middle, right in the sweet spot. And then the cherry on the cake, as one may say, we want this pullback to coincide with a technical level on the chart. You can see it here. We pulled back a little bit right into this red zone, which is a support level. And then if you want to look for the perfect setup, you will also see what we call a liquidity capture event at the last candle. Then really everything comes together. And little spoiler alert, at least one symbol today will have all these things coming together. So I'm excited to share this one for you in just a minute. Okay, so that's one setup we typically look for. And another variation of this is this one here, where we are bullish. Ingredient number one. We came back to a level, but this level is not a traditional support level. It's actually a former resistance level, which was broken beforehand. You can see it here. Prices came up to this level, broke above it, then prices came further up and then came back down to this broken level. This resistance level will now act as support and sometimes will act as a launchpad for prices moving further up. So this is what we will be looking for today. Now, how can we find these stocks and symbols which qualify for these setups? Okay, so back to the dashboard and let's enter our criteria. Let me just first of all clear a couple of these columns out so it's a bit less convoluted. Just 1 second, guys. Just to make it a little bit more manageable. 1 second. I want to keep the heat index on, and that's it. Perfect. Okay, so how do we enter these criteria? Criteria number one, if you remember, we want a stock to be in a long-term uptrend to begin with. How do we find this? Well, we're going to use our MA Rush column. Here's the MA Rush refers to our MA Rush indicator, which prints these beautiful bearish or bullish labels onto the chart. What we can do here in the scanner is we can use the filter associated with MA Rush to click on it, and then, for example, pick symbols which have been bullish for at least 100 trading days, or perhaps 500 trading days, or perhaps 1,000 trading days even. We're going to just go for 500 for now. Maybe I'll change it later on. And once I do this, you can see it here. Of our 6,196 symbols, only in quotes, only 988 symbols remained. It's still a huge number, but we fill it down basically, 5,000 symbols already. Pretty good. Next, we want to look for a pullback. So we don't want to go blindly into a trade, like for example here the ACWI, which might be very extended like this. You can see it here. It really flew up. And let me just quickly hide these labels one more time here. So we applied the indicators to the chart. The labels are a bit cluttering. So we don't want to go blindly into a trade when it's so expensive. We want to wait for things to come down a little bit. And we can find this by considering our trend radar indicator here on the chart. And if you look, it's all green right now for the last candle for this symbol here, meaning right now there's no pullback whatsoever on this particular symbol. Oh, but how can we find stocks with a pullback? For example, a stock like this one here, ADDT, whatever it is, here prices came down. That's a bit more of a pullback. You can see 3 levels down. And I didn't just pick this one arbitrarily. I was actually eyeballing this number here in this pullback column here on the scanner, and where it says 3. 3 means it's a level 3 pullback on trend radar. We can see it here if I zoom in a little bit. 1, 2, 3 levels down on trend radar. The cool thing is you can actually filter for these values by going to the filter next to pullback and pick either level 3 or level 4 pullbacks. And look what happened. Now, of our 6,196 stocks, only 172 ones are remaining. All right, we're getting a bit closer to finding a manageable set. But would I once again trade all of these right now equally? No, absolutely not. For example, a stock like this one here, Aflac. Probably not. Why? We're right at the resistance level. We can see it actually multiple resistance levels right here. That's not where I want to trade. I'm trading right into resistance. Not the case I want to find. I prefer something like this, like BK, the Bank of New York Mellon Corporation. Look at this. Pullback, long-term uptrend, pullback from the top down to a level. That level might now act as support. That's what I'm interested in. So how did I pick this? Well, I was eyeballing once again our scanner here, and in particular the Liquidity IQ setup column here. And I saw this word here, long break retrace, which is exactly this case here, where we first break above resistance, we initially go up and then come back down to the level. So if I, for example, select only this filter, you can see only 2 stocks actually of our 6,000 stocks on this scenario. It's BK and the Eastman Kodak Company. I don't know if this one has anything to do with the Kodak film.
Yeah, it's actually that's
thing.
Paul McCartney's wife's family there, Linda McCartney, the Eastman Kodak cameras.
Really?
Yeah. He married into the
No wonder.
Eastman Empire.
Or former empire, I guess. Or is Kodak still a thing? Are they still doing something? I guess they probably still selling some companies. Wow, old company, eh? Since the beginning of the last century. Wow. Anyways, okay, let's check it out. What's happening with Kodak? I guess they're doing well. Look at this one here. Heard an uptrend. I guess they had terrible earnings here. I'll talk about this in a second. Let me just go see where we're coming from. Yeah, grinding higher, huh? Just quickly have a yeah. Well, I mean, versus we're higher in the past. I'm not going to go all the way back, but yeah, nonetheless, nice uptrend here. But then a big drop down. It's kind of an interesting stock here. Earnings gap. You can see earnings came in on, I guess, before the market opened on Friday or maybe Thursday evening. Earnings data came out and stock prices dropped down. But where did they drop down to? Almost, and I love when this happens. Like it's almost like magic. They drop down exactly to this former resistance level and stop there, leaving a huge down gap behind. So let me just draw this real quick here. You can see this stock here. Wow, what a down gap here. And yeah, if you want to be adventurous, I'm not going to put it on my watch list, but if you want to be adventurous, maybe a long trade along this level too is not the worst idea, anticipating potentially, we might be filling this gap and then prices would need to come up to the 13 level here. Yeah, interesting. Okay, so this was one setup, the long break retrace, but there's another one I wanted to show you, which is the long bounce setup. Then we actually now have 10 stocks on our list here, which is a bit, we have a few more options here. And let me just open up one of those. Let me just go to actually one I really, really like. It's TGX companies. Love it. Look at this one here. This is definitely going to be on our watch list, which I'm going to create in just a second. Look at this beauty of a stock here. 874 trading days bullish in TGX. We have what a nice uptrend here. A bit of a retracement down from the high here to this support level. It's not really a big drop, especially for stocks. Drops like it's just 7 or 8%. It's very low. Some of the stocks easily drop 20%, even more, and still considered as a healthy pullback. But I guess for this stock, it's what it is. It's right at this level here. We hit the liquidity capture event 2 bars ago. You can see it here. Okay, it's not on the last bar. On Thursday, a liquidity capture event, this little event here. We can also see it here in our scanner. We can scan for this. And if we go to just enable this label real quick one more time, you can also see it visually on the chart. It's right there. This is the liquidity capture event. This little shaded area here. It's maybe a bit hard to see, but it's there. And you could also see it here in the scanner. It happened 2 bars ago. This is from this column here, the liquidity capture. So I like it a lot. TJX company is going to be our first one for our watch list for right now. So I'm going to go to my watch list drop down. I will click create and enter. Weekly swing trades. Oops, 1 second. Can't type properly. What happened there? Okay. Trades, colon, 1 second. Colon 2026 0509 today's date. All right, I'm going to add TGX companies to that list.
Let me just quickly answer this for Oliver. Oliver, when a symbol's price is between resistance and support within a 2/3, so it's like 66% of the space between a resistance and support, we call that a magnet zone. And we don't generally trade those setups because they're not as like deterministic and you don't know where price is going to go. But the idea with them is that based on current trend, you might want to look for a healthy pullback with trend radar. Expecting you're going to go up to the resistance in a bullish trend or down to the support in a bearish trend. But magnet zone is you're just in the zone between a resistance and support, and you're not really near an important level yet.
Yeah, we call this also the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's what we like to do. All of us, we like to trade when we're near levels. This just gives us a better reward to risk ratio. Your stop will be much nearer by, and targets are more further away, which is nice. So when we're like in the middle of nowhere, that's typically where we just wait and see until we come closer to a level. Okay, so TGX is nice. I really like this one. And one thing I want to do, which I typically also do, is I sort by trend duration. So I didn't do this yet, but you can do it by simply clicking on this button here. And now we can see, for example, our first stock here is actually Lowe's Corporation. And I don't know if we ever figured this one out. Some say it's a company which does some insurance stuff. Some others say it's a home building company. Maybe they do both. I should really look this up next time. But this was our trade of the week on Tuesday in our lunch and learn session. I still like it quite a bit for a long entry. Tuesday we went up a little bit, came down to the support level here. It's a stock in a long-term uptrend. These swings are completely normal for Lowe's right at support here. I like it for next week. If you're not in this trade yet, something to consider potentially when the market opens on Monday. So I'm going to go here and add this one also to our list. And I forgot one thing to do actually. I forgot to share this watch list with you guys. So with this button here, I'm going to share it. It should be now also in your account. You may have to reload the dashboard. And I will unshare the watch list from April 4th. Okay, perfect. So below this, the State Bank of India. What's going on there? I've yet to trade an Indian stock. Maybe Monday will be the day. Let's see what we're seeing here. Oh, we had earnings. We had earnings. I love to jump into earnings gaps, especially in stocks which are so long-term bullish. Yeah, look at this. Nice long-term bullish here. Earnings came down, perhaps I guess a bit disappointing. Nonetheless, we're in a strong uptrend. Maybe an opportunity here to potentially look for a long entry. So I'm going to add it to our watch list. All right. Is there anybody out there? Maybe if there is, have you ever traded an Indian stock with Interactive Brokers? I know it's possible. Interactive Brokers is a multi-currency broker. It's very easy to exchange your account currency to other currencies at the spot rate, which is amazing with Interactive. But if you did, maybe let me know and see what it took to do this, because I think you also need to buy a market subscription for this Indian stock market. Not sure if that's an easy thing to do. Okay,
Oh,
so
Daniel,
moving.
just a
Yeah.
random thing. An anonymous attendee mentioned that Linda McCartney, anyways, because I said they were related to the Eastman Empire. No, he was born Leopold Epstein. He changed his name to Eastman. He's a New York entertainment attorney, not the same Eastman family. So I guess that was like a urban myth. Thank you. And Daryl reminded us Lowe's company info, so I'll put that in our internal work channel. The info that it's a home supply store.
It is, but actually I looked it up. It's we actually I did this on Tuesday or Wednesday morning, and this is actually what it says on their page. I guess they do just a lot of different stuff. They're like all over the place. Insurance and home retail stuff and home improvement. I don't know. Yes,
And this
I'll
is
double check this.
LOEWS instead of LOWES. Um,
Oh, maybe. Who
once
knows? Maybe
sounds like
something for us
attorneys.
to check out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, maybe it's a different symbol. Nonetheless, that the good news is, and um, the good news is, guys, it doesn't really matter what this company actually does, because what we do here with the scanning process is we focus solely on what's called technical analysis. So it doesn't really matter whether this company is in insurance or home improvement, or maybe a combination of the two, or perhaps something completely different. Because what we focus on as our primary decision criteria is technical analysis, meaning we're looking at trend. Look at this beautiful uptrend. We're looking at key levels, liquidity captures, and pullbacks. And based on this, we are forming an opinion of what may happen to price. This simplifies trading by so much, because it basically eliminates, at least to me, I personally, very few times I actually research a company when I invest in it as a swing trader. It's just not needed in my view. This is swing trading. It's somewhat shorter term. It's not a buy and hold investment. And these technical setups are basically most of what we need to find a good swing trade. Okay, so that was that one. The next one is Parker Hannifin. I still like it. I think it was in our newsletter on Monday, if I'm not mistaken. I still like it for a long entry. Prices came up a little bit, now down again. It's still in the proximity. I will put it back on our list. All right. Next one is Novartis, um, uh, company in the pharmaceutical industry. Also interesting. They just had earnings. This came down a little bit, then recovered, now hovering around this support level here. Level 4 pullback. I like it for potential entry. I'm going to add this one as well to our list. All right.
Okay, so last
Perfect.
week's confusion about Lowe's was just it was a red herring. David just said Lowe's, the home improvement is LOW, and Lowe's is a different company entirely with this symbol L.
Ah,
So it wasn't
got
a
it.
problem on our end. Yeah, it's just
Oh,
different
so
confusion.
I was right in the end. Who mentioned home improvement? It was definitely not me. It must have come from one of our users, maybe. I'm kidding. It probably was,
No, it's
but
because
it doesn't
also
matter.
Lowe's is involved in the apparently companies with home improvement, so it's confusing.
Okay, whatever it is, we'll perhaps revisit this
Kevin says
topic on.
guilty. Okay.
Thanks, Kevin. I'm kidding. Okay, let's move on. Chubb Limited. Okay, all right. Okay, so yeah, also interesting here for Chubb. It's a bit more volatile. You can see it here, the uptrend. There's an uptrend here, but bigger swings here for sure, up and down. You know, I'm gonna skip this one. It is at near support here, but I think we have you know, so for two reasons, it's quite volatile, and also the resistance level here is already at 336. There's not much room for this price to move up. That's, it's a fairly expensive stock with fairly little room to move. How many percent would that be? Maybe only 3-4% from down here to up here. Yeah, 3-4%. Not enough room for me. I'm going to skip this one. Moving on. The Bank of New York Mellon Corporation. All right. Yeah, zone break retrace setup. We just discussed it in the beginning. I like it. Yeah, I'm going to add it to our list for a potential long entry there. And there's two more companies here. The Grupo Cbest, another South American company. It's many people say that South America is the next big thing to come. Look at this one here. Did we have this last week as well? I like it. I like it for a long entry as well. I'm going to add it to the list if we didn't already. I think we had it last week, but I'm going to re-add it to our watch list for this week. Then we have Kodak, and then I'll do one more thing here. Kodak with this huge move down. Ah, I'm always a bit more hesitant for these lower price stocks here. But of course, you know, if you want to really use your risk capital, I'm pretty sure it's not optionable. Is it optional? Let me just see. Heat index? Nah, probably not. Or at least not reasonably optionable. Yeah, maybe take a shot here. I probably will stay away from it. It's too gappy. It's a bit too swingy for me, and a bit too low priced for me to invest my money outright into this. But perhaps if you have some really high risk capital, maybe that could be a candidate for this. And then we have one more here. We have an S&P 500 ETF out of London. We're going to skip this one. Stringent also doesn't really fully, also in utilities, also in the utilities sector. Yeah. Now bouncing off here, but a bit too tight, and I'm going to skip this one as well. So there's
Oh,
not much room to
while we're
grow
on
from
this
here.
chart, I just want
Mhm.
to answer this question from Anne. She's new. So, basically the question is, what is a liquidity capture? So, and liquidity captures happen, they can only happen with our indicators at a resistance or a support level. And basically what it identifies is that price is having trouble moving through that level. And there's a ton of trading volume relative to how much trading usually happens. So if you're coming up to a resistance and there's a liquidity capture, like we just saw there, it's a great example. And the previous liquidity captures were also kind of decent examples. It basically means we came up to resistance, which is where price resists going higher usually, and there was a ton of trading volume. So what this means usually is that level is still strong. There's a lot of selling happening there. Price is having trouble breaking through the resistance. So we usually interpret these as signs that the level is strong and price is going to bounce off of it, which means it's going to fail to break through the resistance. It's going to come back down. And on the inverse, Dan, if you can scroll back a little bit to the nearest support liquidity right there.
Yeah.
So price came down
Yeah.
to
Let
a
me make this
support
bigger.
level, that red line, and it's the inverse here to a resistance. So support price has trouble breaking through the support and losing support, right? That's why it's been identified as support level. There's a liquidity capture. It means there's tons of trading volume. So if price rarely drops below that level, we can see here there was a huge drop the other day, but it was quick. If price rarely drops below it and now it's testing it and there's a lot of trading volume and it's not breaking it, it usually means because people are continuing to buy there. So we expect that price will then move up off from there. And we can see all the following liquidity captures, the resistance ones there, were followed by drops off of those resistances. So it's a really good signal that it's not, deterministic. Like if there's a liquidity capture, it's not going to break through, but it's basically telling you price is having a lot of trouble breaking that
Yeah.
level and interpret it based on other context.
And and the cool thing is, and that you actually can scan for exactly these events with our scanner. I'll show you how this is done. So I'm going to clear out all our filters here. And by the way, guys, I think this came from Paula as a suggestion. Probably on Tuesday, if we get it done on time, probably on Tuesday, there will be a new feature that will remember the previous filters. So, for example, this is like a perfect use case for this, why this could be important. Sometimes I just want to check a random symbol, and I can only find the symbol if I clear my filters because this symbol is not in that list here. Like maybe I want to check Apple or the SPY real quick. So normally I would need to, clear the filter here, look for Apple, look at Apple, and then reapply the filters manually again. The next thing we're going to add is remember. We're going to remember the previous filter. So you can basically just click here. Hey, put back the previous filters that we had before, once before we cleared it all. That's going to come next, probably on Tuesday, if you get it done on time. So I'm going to clear my filters now, and we're going to now scan for liquidity captures. So what we can do here is you can go to this column here and say, hey, I want to find only stocks with a liquidity capture at support at the current bar. So you can even go further down, put the current filter here. So now every single value in this column here has a number one listed here. For example, here AGO has currently liquidity capture on the last bar. You'll see it. A drop down after earnings. Look at this one, liquidity capture here. But it's also bearish at the same time. If you combine this now with, for example, another filter, let's say I only want to consider bullish stocks, which have this on the last bar. Now we only have 15 stocks here. And Coke, for example, Coca-Cola Consolidated has a liquidity capture at the last bar right here. Maybe a long entry of interest. Let me see if there's anything else which I recognize here. Intuitive Surgical could be another one. Huge drop here into the surgical, but we're still bullish. Now down to the support level here with liquidity capture on the last bar. So you can scan for this and you find some other setups that of interest, even setups here like this one here where trend radar has been all red already. So this is a longer term correction within a really broad uptrend. So Intuitive Surgical is, you can see it here, it's actually quite kind of interesting, is in a long-term uptrend. Now, consolidating in this huge sideways channel. It's massive. How many percent are these? 20, 30%? Just measure this one out. All the way to up here. 40%. Wow. Sideways consolidation. Now we're at the lower end. And one could say, okay, maybe I'm going to take a shot here. We're at the lower end of the sideways channel. We do have a liquidity capture event. And maybe that's going to be the starting point for a recovery back towards the upper end of this channel. Could be. Yeah, I'm not going to add it to the list, but at least the rationale to me adds up in my head. Okay, so I wanted to show you one more thing. Okay, so sometimes I just like to find stocks which are, and actually the use case we're going to use right now is I want to find a stock which is in a long-term uptrend, which have seen a pullback, but I don't require the pullback going down right down to a technical level. It could be just a pullback which doesn't necessarily coincide with a technical level on the chart. But this stock has relatively high options premium. And the reason why I'm saying this is maybe I'm interested in sitting some cash secured puts next week for an income generation strategy. Let me show you what I mean by this to make this practical. So I clear my filters. I now focus on stocks which have been bullish for at least 1,000 trading days. There's only 128 of those. I still want to see a level 3 or level 4 pullback, 39 stocks. And I will now look at this column here, my heat index. So heat index is basically the options pricing index. It shows you how much premium for an options you would need to pay for an option at the money with 30 days to expiration. You can use this column and sort by it from highest to lowest. And the first one that comes up here is Carpenter Technology Corporation. I like this one. This is another scan I like to run just to see what's out there. If you click on it, and it fascinates me a little bit why options are so expensive here. It's a very bullish stock. Look at this one here. Nicely bullish stock. 8% premium for such a bullish stock. That's kind of interesting. If you look at the chart here, it's kind of already in a long break retrace setup. What I may do on Monday, if options are relatively liquid and the bid-ask spread is not too wide, I potentially will look for selling some puts around at the current market price, depending on where it opens, maybe 425, maybe 420 if we come down a little bit lower. Collect the premium. And the idea, if perhaps 1 month to expiration, maybe 3-4 weeks to expiration, collect the premium and then anticipate, first of all, that for whatever reason, the implied volatility for future price moves is for some reason anticipated to be quite high. I have no idea. I think this is going to go down, my puts will lose on value, which is good for me because I'm short selling puts. And I believe that also prices will either hold this level or perhaps even grind higher, which will also make these puts lose more value. And this is good for a put selling strategy. So I'm going to add this one to our list as well. And I like it for this kind of options play. And potentially I will execute on it on Monday. I will report on this in the Discord channel if I do so and what the exact options play was. Okay. So with this, I'm going to quickly review what we've picked and we're going to come to your symbol request. So what do we have on our list today? Okay, so 8 symbols. CRS, we just had it, Carpenter Technology Group. It's going to put a quick screen here, a trade note here. So we remember that we had this on our radar, document this in our trading journal here, and save it. All right, next is CIBD Grupo Cibes South Americano. Yeah, nice setup here. Beautiful long-term uptrending stock. I will add it to our list, to our trade notes. I believe we had it last week. Yeah, it's still the same setup. I will add it again. There we go. Perfect. Parker Hannifin Corporation is the next one here. Parker Hannifin, same thing. Kind of rinse and repeat. I know they have dividends coming up, and you may say, hey, should I jump in there before? Or actually, it's too late. We already had our dividend drop here. On Friday. So DivX date had passed, but dividends were very small to begin with. So no harm, no foul here. But there was a bit of a dividend correction as part of this dividend. Actually, if you want to see how big that was, let me just quickly go to our dividend information here, just for the fun of it. I digress a lot today, huh? I should be. So DivX dividend yield 0.91% annualized. They are paid out quarterly. So the dividend per year was at 1.8 around this. Yes, I believe it was somewhere around this. That means the dividend discount here on that day was $1.8. This perhaps explains this, at least part of this retracement here on Friday. Nonetheless, I like it for a trade for next week. So I'm going to add this one as well to our list. Once again, we already had it last week. It's still of interest. TGX companies. I like it a lot. That's a cool one. Maybe our trade of the week in our newsletter. So nice one here. And what I like about this one too is the following. Look at this one here. Earnings are coming up on May 20th. Okay, that's interesting. And typically, when earnings are coming up, the options with an expiration after the earnings are quite expensive because they take into account the volatility that comes with earnings. But if you look at options pricing of TGX, only 3.44. That is very low. So maybe for me, another opportunity to just buy some outright calls here for this particular one. Maybe a little bit out of the money to make them a bit cheaper. Anticipating, hey, when earnings are coming, maybe you're going to see a nice jump towards higher price levels if earnings are surprising. And if you jump down, well, then all I lose is my options premium. So I think an interesting candidate for this. Something we may discuss as well in our Lunch and Learn session on Tuesday. All right, moving on. BK, the Bank of New York Mellon, nice zone break retrace setup. I like it. I'll keep it on the radar for Monday as well, potentially for seeing higher price levels here. So putting this one on as well. And then we have 3 more. We have Novartis, Lowe's, and this Indian bank. All right, Novartis, pharmaceutical company. The only thing here which I kind of don't like about this one here is this fairly near distance from support to up here, only 6% till we hit resistance, intermediate resistance. You know what? I'm going to skip this one just because there's not too much room for this trade to unfold. Lowe's, insurance company. I like it. I'm going to keep it on as well as our trade for next week. We already had it previously. We're going to add it once again to our list here. Perfect. All right. And lastly, the State Bank of India. Interesting setup. I probably will not be able to trade it on Monday. When I wake up in the morning, the Indian market is probably already closed because of the time difference. If I get to it, maybe I will I'll give it a shot, but most likely not. Once again, it's not so easy to trade these stocks. I believe you need to have permissions to trade, first of all, the active brokers, and even if you do, you need to then exchange currency to rupees and so forth. But nonetheless, the technical setup is quite interesting. So I'm going to add this one to our list. All right, perfect. I think we have a nice collection. I'm pretty content. So let's see how this one will pan out. Now we can go to your questions. Nicholas, are there any?
Yeah, okay, so let's take a look here. Okay, one second. We have one question, so let me just read it. What happens if there's a liquidity capture? Oh, so go to the symbol POET, poet.
Okay.
Wonder if they sell
P-O-E-T.
journals. Let's see.
P-O-E-T.
Yeah, Poet
Poet
Technologies.
Technology.
So
Long
what
break.
happens if there's a liquidity capture and a zone break? For me, what I would say, Daniel, is that means it's either it's like a paradox. It's either a zone break that's about to fail or a particularly strong zone break. Like you had a liquidity capture and then it still broke through, you know?
Yeah, that's right. It might be a hey, yeah, despite all the trading, whatever, it's still power to that level. But you know what? It's even though we did see some nice shorts here, you can see it here. It happened off liquidity captures. I personally try not to short my stock here if the overarching trend is also bullish. So I'm still careful, even though you saw it happened many times. It worked out quite nicely along the way. It's just not something I typically do. I like to trade with the trend, not against it, even when it comes for swing trading. But
And oh, sorry.
so that's one last. But I did. Who was that last time? I forgot who it was. I think it was somebody from Australia. I think he went to our lunch and learn session. He told me, and maybe I'm mistaken. He said he sold. He actually did this play on Apple the other day. Let me see what his. I think it was this one here. So this is an example. I personally would not have done it, but one of our clients did it, and he saw this one here on Apple. This one here. This liquidity capture. So maybe it doesn't make this so big. So this one there. So there was one liquidity capture happening there. I believe he executed this one intraday. I'm pretty sure. So prices rose up to this level. We got this liquidity capture event, and what this client did, he put on what we call a call credit spread. So basically, you're selling calls, and you also buy some calls for the out of the money to limit your risk. And basically anticipating, okay, I'm going to collect some premium, and if this level fails, I will likely keep this premium. He told me he closed his position shortly afterwards, probably when prices came down here, closed it out. So maybe that could be a way to do it with a call credit spread, which is risk limited. Maybe we can explain this one also now, lunch and learn. And there's a defined risk. You collect the premium. If it doesn't pan out, you will lose, but the risk is limited to a certain degree. So this can be simulated in option simulation tools like Option Strat, for example. Perhaps something we can do on Tuesday, as I mentioned. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay. And then on TJX, so let's just see. Okay, so basically the question here from Asa is, and Aubrey says he's got some Jan 2028 options on TJX, but the idea was, and I think this is you can answer this
2028.
easily,
Wow.
Daniel, is let's say your okay, price is coming down to support, you hesitate to enter. Are you waiting for it to come all the way to the bottom of the red box? Are you going to sell too early when it comes up? Like, how do you think about this? I think the answer is just wide stops and realistic targets.
Yeah, it's true. And also depending on what is your entry strategy. So for TGX,
And the
well, I
idea was
guess
here, like, what's your strategy? Like, how would you
yeah.
figure out what's the threshold to enter in the support zone? Is it the top, the
No, I
middle, the
like it.
bottom? We like DCAing too.
Yeah, you can scale it. I mean, this is yeah, you could scale it. Maybe take a shot right now what prices are. If they come down a bit further, maybe add a little bit more. At least that way you have a foot in the water, as we say. Or you wait for, I mean, there's so many variations. I kind of don't want to over think it too much, even at the current price levels. We're close enough to my entry point. So I would just probably jump in at this point. And there's never going to be a perfect moment. It's very hard to really hit it to the dot. So don't overthink it. I think the setup is solid. But what's important is that you are very prudent and smart about your position sizing. Yeah, don't take too much risk. The idea is to build up to win in the long game. Big smaller trades, time over time over time, and that hopefully will accumulate. So that I think is where the key is. Yeah.
Yeah, and a good strategy, like let's say you can afford, or you're thinking 50 shares or whatever it is, take 20 in the top zone when you're not sure, and then wait to
Yeah.
see what happens. The next one, let me just check if there are any questions. Do you have a bundle that power
Yeah,
scanning. Are there any?
this one from Mike, if you're there. My apologies for not getting back to you. The reason is because we've, I guess, approached you through or added you into our system into some kind of unconventional way. We just put you in our company chat, and there's so many messages. I kind of lost your email again, but Nicholas, if you can re-find it for me, I'm definitely gonna
Yeah,
get back
yeah,
to
I
you
still have
today.
it. I have it saved.
Sorry for
Um,
actually, I was asking Nicholas yesterday. Hey, Nicholas, was there somebody on Tuesday who wanted to talk about the power bundle? And I couldn't find it anymore. So, Mike, yeah, but for today, please wait for my email for this.
so let's begin symbol requests. First one, Arista Networks, ANET. I think that's
Yeah,
Arista Networks.
yep, yep. That's the rest. Networks level 4 pullback. On that earnings too. Big earnings drop here. I would not jump in right now. I think, given the fact that we lost this former resistance level here, we might come down all the way to this level down here at 115. So I would wait for prices to come down a bit further after this earnings gap.
The next symbol is going to be CTAS. And for people who
CTAS.
put in two
Oh,
symbols at once,
Cintas.
we're going
Yeah.
to, I'm just sorry, guys, but we're going to move on to the next person just so we can make sure everybody gets a symbol in as much as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I I mean, this is a symbol which I personally have in my portfolio. I'm not happy with it. I I sold some puts a long time ago. I got assigned. So now this one is in my portfolio. I yeah, and I just hang on to it. But I don't like what I'm seeing here. The trend has changed to bearish. Now we're testing once again the support level here. Um, yeah. If I were you, I would not take a long position here. Well, bearish now. Even though we had support, I probably would get would not take it. I just hold on to it just because I'm stubborn. Some degree it's also in my buy and hold portfolio now. But no, I don't like it for long. It's well bearish. And this looks kind of no, staircasing step by step further down. Yeah. All right. Okay. Any
Sorry,
other
sorry, Daniel.
symbol?
I lost the window.
Yeah.
OPEN, open.
Open door technology. All right. Oops. It's this one here in a magnet zone. This is an example of a magnet zone here. In the middle, in between support and resistance, you're going to see it right here. Make this a bit bigger. There we go. Yeah, right in the middle here. Yeah, I mean, we're bullish. Huge move up now down here in this level. I think I'm going to come down to this level here, probably at 430, maybe then take a shot. Ideally, perhaps with a liquidity capture event like this one here. Take a shot for the upside. Now, right here, we're too close to resistance to me to go long. I would wait for prices to come down further.
Perfect. And the
Yeah.
next one's EnPhase, ENPH.
ENPH, like this?
Yeah.
Enphase Energy, yeah. Wow.
I
All these
used to
energy
trade this
stocks.
years ago.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, this and
Yeah.
Plug Power, PLUG, which used to have like crazy pump and dump energy.
Yeah. Oh, boy. What's going on here? Yeah. I mean, that's a bearish stock. I don't know what your play would be on this, but I would only look for one direction here. Uh, Not something I would touch personally. Even
Liquidity
now
capture
for
shorts. Yeah.
yeah, if you come up here, but at this level here, I was well, no, nothing I would be interested in.
Next one, Disney. Or no, DIS. I don't know if that's Disney.
That's probably this thing, yeah. DIS. There we go. Yeah, 40 bearish also here in Disney. I wonder if these animation companies are suffering of AI. So much stuff can be done so much quicker. Yeah, what an interesting broad sideways channel here in Disney. It's reminding me of uh, United States oil fund, which has been oscillating in this wide range for many years. And every time it approached one of the outer levels, it would have been a nice opportunity. We're nowhere near the outer level here, so I would not touch it. But if you come up here to this level, 124, maybe a short, or maybe some puts, or perhaps if you come down to this level here at 80, maybe something on the long side. But right at this level here in the middle, I would not do anything.
SBKFF, PKL. So the State Bank of India.
Oh, we just had that one.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay. HIG.
I think Aubrey commented on this one too,
Yeah,
that it
that's I didn't
has.
know we already went over it. It was from Aubrey.
Yeah.
HIG.
Yeah. And Aubrey actually said that for this one, just real quick. Um, I believe Aubrey, you said this one. Is this the one listed in India, or was this some kind of uh stock which follows this price but traded on the New York Stock Exchange? I'm not sure. Sometimes they, for foreign stocks, they're also listed on the New York Stock Exchange, and you can they're called American Depository Receipt, ADRs. For example, there's just a real quick one on this one. Do we have other ADRs? There are ADRs. I don't see them in here. But for example, I think SAP has an ADR in the US. It's this one here. So for example, here you have SAP, a big German company, traded in Germany. So if you go to the exchange column here, just real quick on this topic, you can see this is traded on the German stock exchange. You can see it here. But SAP also is traded in the New York Stock Exchange as an ADR. And basically, what that means is that a US bank has basically decided, hey, we're going to mimic this stock price of SAP and let traders execute on it, on the stock, buying and selling stocks, but also options through a New York Stock Exchange, making it much easier for US investors, for example, to engage in trading this particular stock. And
The
this may be
next symbol,
possible for many other foreign stocks as well. Yeah.
the next symbol is HIG.
Hartford. Yeah, I wonder what happened to Hartford Insurance. Let's have a quick look. I know we had it on our list. Still pretty decent. When did we put this one? Didn't we have a trade note on this one? Huh, I guess
Oh,
not.
and the Indian bank, it's a US pink slip OTC.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot for a potential long entry for Hartford Insurance Group. We had this one on our radar for many years already. Surprised there was no trade note, but yeah, beautiful uptrend here. And these pullbacks, yeah, these are tradable. A nice pullback here to support. I like it for potential long.
Next one, HIMS,
HIMS, yeah.
and then eBay.
HIMS is in healthcare. I think they're trying to have this new healthcare model. Um, yeah, struggling a bit. Bearish trend. Earnings coming up next week. So yeah, I'll be careful here with earnings coming up. I would not touch it. Maybe wait for the earnings to
Yeah.
come out and then, but it looks very bearish to me. So yeah, I don't have a good feeling about HIMS. Yeah.
eBay.
eBay. All right. eBay. What's going on there? I've recently used eBay to
Really?
that for the first time in, I don't know, 10 years, I think. I had to recreate my account to buy a present for somebody in Brazil we're gonna visit at some point. It's a Rammstein. He's a big Rammstein fan. He wanted this particular, was it Rammstein or maybe a
Memorabilia?
Till? Or maybe Till. No, a CD, an actual CD, a
Ah,
special edition, or maybe a
cool.
Till Lindemann CD. So I wasn't able to buy it. He had to buy it on eBay. Okay, let's see. I digress once again. Okay, so eBay had earnings a while back, now trading above this resistance level here. I would be shocked if this was the all-time high in eBay. Let me just see, where are we coming? Oh, it is. Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, I guess all-time highs in eBay.
It's gaining ground. Wow.
Yeah,
That's cool. Nice zone break
surprisingly.
retrace coming up, perhaps, to
Yeah,
either of those
yeah,
resistance levels.
potentially wait for prices to come down a bit further to maybe the 100 level, also big psychological level, and maybe then look for
Look
longs.
at that nice bounce on the big red candle there. No, later on,
Oh,
like
this
just 7 days ago or so. That nice,
off the zone break retrace. Yeah, here.
like it broke and then it came right down to that second
Yeah,
level, the less
yeah. I
opaque
came
one.
back up.
Anne wants to know, all right, she's in a losing call on BE. I don't know what that is, Boeing. Um, and wonder if you could evaluate it. Need it to go up by May 29th when it expires. So what do you think of BE if you had a call on BE and you're losing on it
Yeah,
by
but
the end of
how
May?
big is? I mean,
End
if you
of
want to
May.
act on it on Boeing or on these calls with expiration coming up, because time decay will accelerate the closer you get to expiration. So now would be if there's still some value in that one. So let me just go to Boeing. How do you spell Boeing? Yeah. Okay.
BOE, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
Okay.
a wrong company. So I was wrong. BE is the symbol. So let me see BE stock symbol. What is that?
Oh,
BE is
BE, the
Bloom
bank of
Energy.
the
Bloom
bank.
Energy.
Oh, yeah, Bloom
Bloom
Energy. Let me
Energy.
see.
Why is it BA? Oh, Boeing Aerospace. Okay.
Bloom.
Bloom. There we go.
This one. Okay, cool. Okay, let's have a look at the technicals here. Losing call. Oh, yeah. I mean, mm, I personally, but I can't give trade advice first of all. But if I would own a call, which is not in the money right now, but there's still some value in it, I personally would probably not hold on to it.
Because I'm
Don't.
expecting a zone break. Like there's a chance in the
Yeah,
next few weeks it comes down to this resistance, then bounces up fast, but like you're gambling at
yeah,
that point because there's a gap to fill and there's a zone break retrace
yeah.
setup that hasn't
And you're
occurred.
getting so yeah, and you're getting so close to expiration that you're gonna be hit really hard by time decay. I personally, if I had that option, I probably would sell it. So you have some time value left. Maybe hopefully Monday is gonna be a bullish day for it. Regain some value and then just get rid of it. How much
Olga
did you
says
pay?
that eBay
Oh,
has a buyout offer. So wow.
ah, okay.
Oh, geez.
Oh, didn't I? That's right. Who
I'm
I
checking.
heard about this. It's
GameStop.
GameStop. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, that's
That's right.
funny,
I heard about
GameStop.
that.
That's
I did
crazy.
hear about that. But real
125 a
quick,
share. Yeah.
yeah, real quick, and for this one here, I don't know what options prices were when you bought this call, but going long calls with a heat index of 11.42. I have no idea what if that was the case when you bought these calls, but that's typically not a good sign for buying calls because it's super expensive. These premiums are very, very high. And what probably happened in your case, I would I don't know what happened. Also, we had earnings here. Maybe it was even more expensive if you got into this call before earnings. Uh yeah, there's an art to picking good stocks for options. I'm not by no means an expert for this, but just by looking at the heat index here and what the chart tells me is I think there's a good chance prices are going to come down to either this level to fill this up gap here or even down to our broken resistance level for our zone big retrace setup. But since you're so close to expiration, I probably would get rid of it. Maybe take advantage of the fact that, hey, no, the calls is still pretty expensive right now. Yeah.
Um, okay, so we got three symbols from Derek. I looked at all of them. I think the most interesting one we can look at is Shopify. So Shopify and Robinhood Markets and some other symbol, but I really like the Shopify
Long
idea.
bounce, yeah. Yep, I like it too. And liquidity capture 2 bars ago, two
Is it
candles
MA
ago.
Rush Bull? Oh, 729 bars. And Shopify is not going anywhere. Like I've seen YouTube videos of recently, like tons of, it's still popular.
Mhm. Mm. I guess also I guess technically as a software company, aren't they based in Ottawa? Just next door to
Yeah,
Montreal. Let me
aren't
see
they
this.
yeah,
Yeah,
they might be
Ottawa.
Canadian, eh?
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. Okay, yeah. I mean, as a loyal Canadian, uh, I like it for a long stock here. Nice technical setup. Don't want to get into it what their future looks like, but we had earnings coming, a bit of a drop down to this support level with
Nice
liquidity
extra
capture
level
now.
beneath there and another extra
Yeah,
I mean that's way down like
yeah.
20, $30, but nice level structure for
It is a nice
dollar
level
cost
structure,
average. Yeah.
but sometimes I like it better if there's no close by levels because again, this is maybe a
Yeah.
hunch which I'm having. If two levels are nearby, sometimes it's the lower levels which is the more important one. But yeah, but I like it in general as a potential long trade.
And can we do one last symbol, Daniel? And
Yeah,
Anne says heat index. Thank you. I'm learning so much today. Appreciate your analysis. Um,
yeah.
okay, thank you, Anne. And then the next one is NVIDIA.
Oh yeah,
And I'm going to write that
Nvidia.
down,
Okay.
Massa,
Oh,
STM
wrong
to
one.
the dashboard. The Société de Transport de Montréal. No, but
Oh,
no, STM is
is it
another
really? No.
stock. No, that's it's the metro subway system
I
in
know.
Montreal,
I
but
know it's the metro system.
ST
I know.
Microelectronics.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Nvidia right at resistance. I personally would wait. But yeah, it's encouraging to see Nvidia pulling higher. I think it's gonna pull higher too. For buy and hold, I guess the chances were down here to get a better entry. I would not be so concerned. For a swing trade, I personally would wait. Perhaps there will be a pullback. Earnings are coming soon as well, May 21st in 2 weeks, give or take. Yeah, I don't know. If you want to get into this before earnings, maybe a theory could be, hey, earnings will not be as great. Maybe we're going to see a bit of a drop and then get into Nvidia as also as a perhaps potentially a buy and hold. But jumping in right now, in proximity to the earnings, right at this resistance level with a bunch of liquidity captures, maybe well, not something I would do. All right.
Perfect. And let me
Perfect.
check what's any last questions. Thank you guys for putting in that info about the buyout and all that. Earnings on the 20th for Nvidia. Um, is there
Let's do
anyone who
one
didn't have
more.
a symbol in that I
Yeah.
missed? Let me just check because a lot of people put in a lot of symbols. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anybody. Andre, we missed Andre. HSY. Sorry. Actually, let me just check if Andre is still in the room. Yeah, he is. So HSY.
Okay. So quickly look at AS since the chart is open real quick, Derek. Yeah, looks interesting, but also here earnings are coming out on May 11th for ASD Space Mobile. But yeah, potentially an interesting long setup, good long-term uptrend now near support. Okay, and what was the last symbol? One
HSY.
HSY, like this?
Yeah, I've never heard that symbol.
Hershey. That's
Oh,
this
Hershey.
don't
Okay.
yeah. Ugh, not a fan.
Tasty symbol.
I don't know what you define it. I like sweets a lot. I like chocolate a lot, but Hershey's never was one of my favorites. But anyways,
I
I
like
guess
lint.
as
Yeah.
Lindt is, yeah, this is more refined, I think, than Hershey's. But nevertheless, who am I to talk about chocolate? So bullish since October 2025. Now near support here. Dividends are coming up next week. Let me just see how much do they pay. 3.19%. How much did they pay last? Let me just hover over this. 1.4. So on diff, there's actually something we should probably discuss at some point. What you're gonna see on the diff X date, which is this one here, on May 15, you will see that the price will be corrected down by the dividend amount being paid out per share. In this case, it's 1.4. Oh, if it's the same as last year, if the dividend announced dividend would be 1.45, the price would be corrected to the downside to this. It's no big deal for, yeah, it's not much for the stock, but some of this can be substantial. And these dividend corrections, these are always there. They have to be there, otherwise you could take advantage of just buying a stock right before the dividend and then dumping it again. And to avoid this, you always have these dividend adjustments in there. They are part of the trading game, so to say. And sometimes, you see this on the chart, especially for companies that pay really big dividends, mainly in Europe, where dividends are only paid out once a year. Not so much for quarterlies, because then the individual dividend amounts are much smaller. But for some European countries, dividends are paid out once a year, and these adjustments can be quite big. And just important to make sense of it once you see it on the chart. Hey, this was because of a dividend adjustment. Nonetheless, yeah, I mean, you may want to take a shot here for a long entry. What I don't like about this one is that it's fairly close to resistance here, only 10%. Actually, it's quite volatile. Yeah, and only 3.19.
Zoom out a bit. I want to see like the
Yeah,
wider view. Yeah,
yeah,
10%. That's nice. And like the uptrend's not that long. How long is this was that an all-time high recently? Yeah, yeah, it is a little iffy, but definitely looks
yeah.
like it's probably going to go to
It's
that resistance. No, a good chance.
yeah, and maybe even something with options. Yeah, 3.19% options premium. Yeah, not the worst.
And
Yeah,
they have
for the
great
early
red
days.
licorice, says the anonymous attendee.
Oh boy, not for
Oh,
me.
sorry.
Anyways, guys.
Last one, Daniel. InnoData. Dominic, I'm sorry. He mentioned InnoData is going crazy. To please check that out. InnoData.
Data, short bounce. Oh yeah, what a huge move. Earnings.
Whoa.
Yeah, earnings.
Look at that
Yeah,
liquidity capture. Good example for
yeah.
Ann or whoever
But
asked.
it's magic to me. You have these earnings coming up that came out, I guess, on Thursday night or Friday morning before the market opened. Huge jump up, and where did it stop? Where did the top of this candle stop? Almost to the dot, right at our
You could
projected
have
level here.
sold right, and I bet the liquidity capture signal came intraday, and then you
Yeah,
could have just started shorting there. And what was that? From 93 to 84? That's a $10 a share short, just
yeah,
intraday, or
crazy.
whatever it
Cool.
was.
Anyways, guys, that was fun. Thanks, guys, for your symbol request. Let me just quickly say two more
Uh,
things. If you do, because is there one more question to be
yeah, yeah,
addressed?
sorry. Ann says, can your indicators that we saw today be used on TradingView if I buy the package?
If you get the dashboard, no, that's a separate subscription. But we do sell them for TradingView individually as well. If you send me a quick note afterwards, I will let you know what your options are for getting the indicators for TradingView as well. And
And
just
I'm
a
I'm
quick
posting
side,
Daniel's
yeah,
email to you and as a response. So check your response is DS
yeah.
Daniel Sinning at tradingindicators.com.
Yeah, and alternatively, and you can also just go to our homepage, tradingindicators.com, go to support, then contact, and put your question to the contact form, submit it. It will also end up in my inbox. But talking real quick, I mean, this is a long session today. Two more things I want to say about the individual indicators on TradingView. I had so much fun on yesterday because and for the Germans of you out there, I was at the World of Trading conference, an online conference yesterday about day trading. It was so much fun. What I did, I used these two indicators, Liquidity IQ and MA Rush, to day trade during that conference. And I made a call. In that conference. My slot was from 9 to 9:30. And the call I made, if you look at my alerts that came in here, we got this one here. On the 5-minute chart, soybeans meal futures. So let me just go real quick to this one here, just for 1 second. This is the 5-minute chart. Okay, at 9:30, right at the end of my presentation, I was still on. I got this alert coming in, and this was where here 9:30, yes. And I told them, hey, as soon as I hang up, I'm gonna be shorting this symbol here to the downside because everything came together at this point. Bearish trend at the time. This bullish one came a bit later. Bearish trend. We came up to a key support level with a liquidity capture. Got the alert here in TradingView, and I short
Key
this one,
resistance
and this
level,
worked
just to
out.
correct you.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I short this one. It was beautiful. And then we had, I mean, yesterday, I don't know if anybody day traded yesterday. Our indicators were absolutely spot on across the board. So all these power bounces, beautiful, like this one here, 6E Euro futures. I think this was here at 11 o'clock, somewhere here. Yeah, here. Nice power bounce to the downside. These are short-term trades. You would have been out of this trade long time before it went up again. Ethereum, also yesterday, on the 1-minute chart. This one here, MET. Beautiful. I think it was this one down here. At Ethereum, 941. Where was it? Here, 941. This one here. Versus came down, day trading to key support,
That's
liquidity
crazy.
capture in the long uptrend. What a move. Yeah, I mean, yesterday,
That's
I
like the
guess our
perfect
indicators
signal.
they were just honed in yesterday. Anyways, yes, yes, these indicators are available for trading. Just send me a quick note and I'll let you know what your options are. And for the dashboard, if you are thinking of coming on board, simply go to tradingindicators.com/view, sign up for a 4-week of free trial, get all the features, try it out. You can cancel at any time in that trial period. You will not be charged. But of course, if you want to stay on, we'll be happy to have you. We have interesting monthly and yearly options for the dashboard. With this,
Oliver
guys,
says, sorry, the last one. Is 1IQ, is it right to say 1IQ is kind of like the liquidity dashboard version for TradingView? Like it's basically the signal
it,
and setup identification
yeah,
scanner. Yeah.
that's right. So absolutely, that's a good way to put it, Oliver. So you can see these alerts here are generated by 1IQ because that we designed this 1IQ indicator to have the ability to put conditions from multiple other individual indicators together into one story. So what 1IQ, for example, he looks at here is for a trend to be bullish, let's say for the long version here. For a liquidity capture event from Liquidity IQ, I mean, Rush needs to be bullish and we need to be close to support. So we can put these 3 conditions together into one big alert, which 1IQ can then pick up and alert me if this one comes up. But yeah, it was a thing of beauty yesterday. It's not always this accurate, but I've seen over time it gives you a nice edge in day trading, but also for swing trading. Okay. With this, guys, thank you so much for being here. I think it was probably our longest session so far. Maybe I digress too much. In any case, watch for the recording which should be out in a couple of hours on our YouTube page, and hopefully see you all on Tuesday when we will be back for our lunch and learn session on Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern time. Until then, guys, have a nice weekend and talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Cheers.